What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the We Run on Coffee podcast with Marissa and Arika. Today, we're bringing you a super fun episode, and we're talking all about the 5 love languages. And very excitingly, Marissa has officially gotten a microphone. We both have microphones, and we are bringing you the audio quality this week.
Yeah, but there's no promises that it works well because we have been working on this since like 2 hours now.
But we got here, and that's all that matters. We're excited to bring you guys this episode. Happy Wednesday. We hope you are enjoying the day. If you haven't noticed yet, we did get a formal request to upload our episodes even earlier. So on Wednesdays, our episodes will drop at 12:01 a.m. right away in the morning. So you all can listen at any point in the day. So it's a little housekeeping update. Yes. But let's just jump right in today. We have a lot to talk about. So what are you drinking this morning?
I still have my coffee. It's almost gone because it's been 2 hours of us troubleshooting this mic. But I just made my oat milk lavender latte yet again.
Yum. Nice. Okay, so I'm not drinking anything because Invisalign, which unfortunately for the next few months, it might be that. But before this, I obviously did have coffee. And I want to tell you guys, I tried a new creamer. So I took a picture of it to tell you. I didn't realize it was Coffee Mate, but it's the ones that say Natural Bliss. And it looks like that's the brand, but it's actually Coffee Mate, really small above it. But it's oat creamer. And it is the brown sugar flavor, and it's actually so yummy. I love it. So that's been my new thing. Sugar. Yes, me too. I've been mixing that in. I mean, sometimes you use real brown sugar, but that's been a nice lazy option for me.
Yeah.
Just mix that right in, and it's all good. So yeah, but I am drinking my water out of my Stanley dupe. Gotta love it.
Yes.
But yeah, I'm so excited. We're filming 2 episodes today, everyone. So we're going to be catching up with you in this episode. And then next episode, we're going to tell you what we're looking forward to. And I'm very excited because we're looking forward to a lot. But yeah, let's dive into our catch up. What's new with you?
Okay, so on Tuesday morning, I wake up at my 5 a.m. wake up call, just like normal, and I'm getting ready to leave, and I walk out, I have my coffee, I have my breakfast, I have my lunch, I have everything, and I go to lock my door, and it doesn't lock. Oh. And it was locking fine from the inside, but I tried to put my key in from the outside, and the door would not lock.
I'm creeped out.
So, I know. So I called the emergency maintenance line and I was like, hey guys, I can't lock my apartment. And they were like, oh yeah, well we normally come in at 8. And I was like, well, it's 6 a.m. and I have to be at work 10 minutes ago. Yeah. And they were like, well, we can try and be there at 7:30. So I was like, okay, whatever. So I go to work late and they finally fixed my lock. So they just basically just gave me new keys and replaced my lock.
That's so strange though.
But I was so confused, and I remember earlier in the week I had seen something, I had messed with my lock, or I had locked my door or something and it was being weird. But I was like, what the heck is happening? So I got a new lock. I got new keys. I don't know what happened, but that was really annoying.
It's so weird how it can just go from working to not. What happened in between?
And I was like, did it just break? It had to have. But I was like, this is so weird. And Kyle was at work and he FaceTimed me and he's like, can you show me exactly what you're talking about? And I was like, yeah, here. And he was like, yeah, I don't know.
That is so strange. That's a weird problem to have. I feel like I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
That's
but
so crazy.
That was it. That was my biggest update. And then I also ordered these cute dresses and I tried to show you, but
cut off.
I know, but I wasn't able to. So have you heard of Halara dresses?
No, I don't think so.
They're these athletic dresses. They're stretchy spandex material, and they have built-in shorts, but it's basically a built-in romper underneath the shorts, and they're so comfy. I got them in the mail yesterday.
Cute.
And I got a blue one and a white one, and you're going to see me in them when I come home next weekend.
Oh, I'm sure.
So
I was just going to
cute.
say that. I'm so excited to see them. That's so cute. I had a workout dress from Old Navy, but it didn't have the shorts, so I got rid of it because I was just like, I can't. It's white and it doesn't have the shorts. I'm like, not a good combo. I need the shorts.
I got a white one, and the back is so cute on it. And then I got this bright blue, and I love it. I'm so excited.
I can't wait to see it. That royal blue color has been my color right now. I love it. It's very popular.
I love a bright blue.
Pretty. Wow. Okay. That's amazing. Well, I'm sorry about your lock, but I'm glad they fixed it right away at least.
Yeah.
Because that could have been really
it was so weird because I was working on your schedule that day. I went to work 8 to 4:30 and it was so weird.
That is so weird. Oh my God. That is my exact schedule. That's funny.
Yeah.
I love that for us. Okay. Well, I have a lot to catch you up on.
Okay,
so
I'm
this
ready.
week, Angelo planned his date night because he was the planner for April. And I just want to shout out a movie we saw because we went to, first of all, a restaurant called Nomad in Columbus, which I'd never been to. But oh my God, it was amazing.
Really?
10 out of a million. Like a million out of 10 instead of backwards.
10 out of a million.
Rip. That'd be bad. A million out of 10. Highly recommend. So good. We had some bao pork buns. We had a like Philly cheesesteak, but like, a fancy version. It was almost a little fancy. And then we had this like really good chicken sandwich. Oh my God. They have this grill that's like 1,000,000 degrees. And so everything gets really like grilled and like a little charred on the outside, but then the inside is like super like soft and nice. It was so good. I can't even tell you. But we went to the movies after, and Angela picked the movie, and we saw The Covenant. I don't know if you've seen any previews for that, but
no.
It was a movie. It was like a war movie about Afghanistan and like the relationship between the American military and translators that are local to the area that they hire and that work for them, and how when we leave that area, a lot of times like we say, oh, we'll give you a visa if you become a translator for us, but then sometimes the promises do not get kept. And so it was all about that and how people go into hiding and stuff, and it was just so good. I don't want to spoil the movie, but I just wanted to recommend that to everyone because I thought it was amazing. And also though, like, it was the biggest mood killer of mood killers. I told Angela, I was like, it's a great movie to watch, but now I just want to like cry all night because it was so like heavy. Those movies are so hard to watch.
Well, we also know Arika hates movies, so her out here recommending one, that's crazy.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, I have to bring this to the people because when I say it, I mean it. So that was fun. But then also yesterday we went out to breakfast with Angelo's dad and his sister Vernita because we are planning our New York City trip.
Yay!
Really excited. Ours isn't until August. I know you're going soon, which would be so fun to talk about. Ours isn't until August, but a lot of the restaurants are like they open their books right now for reservations.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, I've got to plan this early.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. We have all our destinations that we want to go to, so I can't wait to share. And then we have a patio update. We're officially getting a patio!
Yay!
Finally! Yesterday, we sent in our request to our condo association, which is a whole thing within itself, but it will, if it gets approved by them, they have to say yes or no, but if it gets approved, it will be done by June 30th. So,
wow.
If not sooner, probably sooner.
That is so quick.
So quick. And if we get the yes, if we get the go ahead even sooner, it could be done in May. It just depends on, they could take up to 30 days to get back to us, which is like a long time. So depends on when they answer, but then we'll start right away. And I'm so excited.
Yay. I can't wait.
So we'll have a patio. And my last update is very exciting. So I was telling Marissa a little about this, but I didn't want to spoil it. Friday, we had a cookout at Aunt Diane's, which if y'all don't know, Marissa's fiance's name is Kyle. Kyle's mom is Diane. She's my boyfriend's aunt. Yes. I know it's a spider web. I hope you can keep up. I'm so sorry. But I got to see Marissa's fiance, Kyle. We got to see all of our cousins and everything. And our podcast got brought up pretty soon into the cookout, which I was really surprised about because I didn't bring it up and I wasn't about to. Because sometimes I'm like, I'm not trying to like be weird, but everyone was like, oh my gosh, we've been listening to your podcast, we love it. Specifically our cousin Natalie, she was like, oh my gosh, I love the podcast, can you please upload it earlier on Wednesday so I can listen on my drive to work? And I was like, yes, done. Hence my housekeeping update at the beginning. Caden, her husband, he told me that he loved the house episode, how to buy a house. And he said, I literally have never heard anyone talk about some of the things you guys talked about. And you were so open and honest. And you said every dollar amount and whatever. Mm-hmm. And he loved that. So shout out Nat and Caden. Thanks for the feedback because that was so cool. Yeah. And obviously, I loved that episode. And he was saying that he feels like our level of transparency is what makes us like stand out, which I thought was so sweet and so cute.
Well, I've been talking about this with my friends. And like, if you aren't transparent and you aren't open about things, how are you ever going to learn about it?
Exactly. Yeah. And then we get that's exactly how we have all of these like skewed perspectives of what something's supposed to be. Like the society's perspective of what a woman is very skewed because a lot of us aren't honest, or like we can't talk about mental health because for so many years we haven't been honest with each other. So I feel like you're exactly right. It's like, how will we be, how will we tell you the truth without telling you the truth? Like, exactly or like what it is.
How will you grow to like form your own opinions about things if you aren't informed of other people's opinions and like open? I just feel like the only way to be in the world is open, honest, and transparent. And that's how I try to live.
Exactly. And that's what I said. I said, we will never lose that because you and I will just say anything. Hence the truth or drink where we didn't drink. Yeah. Because we just said it to answer all the questions. Like we just don't care like that. But here's my biggest update on this that I'm very excited to tell you. So everyone was just talking about it. They were very excited. They gave their favorite episodes. It was so cute. And then Oma, our grandma, was like, oh my gosh, like, I don't know how to listen to podcasts. I didn't realize that you guys like were doing this together. I really want to try to listen. Like, can you guys tell me how? And I was like, yes, I think you might have the Pandora app on your phone. I think you can use that. And she was like, I have the Purple podcast app. I'm like, oh yeah, she has Apple Podcast.
Yeah.
So yeah, I said, just look up We Run on Coffee. That's it. And so that was Friday night. Saturday night, she came to my house because I was hosting a family dinner. And she walks in. She was the first one to get here. She's like, Arika, guess what? I was like, what? She said, I stayed up till 2 a.m. last night listening to you and Marissa's podcast and I binged it. So shout out to Oma. She said, I'm trying really hard to catch up by Wednesday. I was like, Oma, there's like 13 episodes. Are you sure? She's like, yes, I'm going to go home and listen to 2 more tonight and I'm going to binge the rest until I get caught up.
Aw, Oma.
Are you shook?
She's like our new biggest fan.
I know. So shout out to Oma. Hi, Oma. Hi, Nat and Kaden. Hi, Vernita. Hi, Kyle, Angelo. Like, everybody. All these people in our family are being so supportive right now. And it was just so sweet. And she's like, I stayed up till 2 a.m. last night. Guess what I was doing? And I was like, I literally have no idea. What do you mean? She's like, I was listening to the podcast. And I just did not expect her to say that. So I thought that was so fun. And I was so excited to tell you.
Aw, that's so exciting. And like, even if it's just our family, like, I don't care. Just like knowing that they listen and like talk to us, like, it's the easiest way to catch up with us, I feel like.
It is. Yeah. Natalie was telling me, she's like, I feel like I know what's going on in your guys' life. I'm like, yeah, exactly. It's so fun. And when Oma was expressing like that she wanted to catch up, I was like, I hear you, because it is fun to catch up because our weekly updates always build on the last one. Yeah. So it's really fun. And yeah, I just wanted to share that today because I was like, so how exciting. Cute. So thanks everyone listening.
Hi, Oma. We miss you.
Oma. We appreciate it. Yeah. And so I'm just glad everyone. Oh, there was another one. Okay. This is a big one. So Julie, my boyfriend Angela's mom, so she was saying that she just started listening as well. She said, I've been putting it off, but I want to listen. I just haven't had time. So she finally started listening. She said that, so I think you know that she is a professor at Capital University. She announced it to her class. Yeah, she gave us a shout out.
That's so cute.
I know. So I guess the sticker I gave her, she put on her water bottle and someone saw it and asked a question or something like that. And she told her class, like, oh, you guys are 20 somethings. Like, you're the perfect age to listen to my boyfriend's or my son's girlfriend's podcast. Yeah. And so she told her class to listen to We Run on Coffee.
Oh, that's so cute.
Hi, Capital students. If any of you are here, like, please comment on our Instagram. We'd love to know if, Mrs. Dallas sent you. Dr. Dallas? Doctor. Professor Dallas?
Yeah.
She about to be a doctor. You got this, Julie. So, anyways, that's my catch up. I know it was long, but I was so excited to tell you all these shout outs we're getting.
I know. That's so fun. Honored. I love it.
So cute. So, with that, we better dive in because, girl, we have so much to say. But what we're going to do today is talk about the 5 love languages, like I mentioned. So I'm going to kind of guide us through this little discussion. I'm really excited. I pulled some definitions for everyone listening. There is a book about the 5 love languages. That is like what this whole thing started on. And Marissa and I were going to read it, and then we forgot, to be fully honest.
That's okay.
But it's a very short book, and I think we can all get the idea from just talking about it. So if you go to 5 love languages, the number 5, not spelled out, 5lovelanguages.com. That's where I pulled all of this information from. So I just want to say that. But the premise of the 5 love languages book is quite simple. Different people with different personalities give and receive love in different ways. By learning to recognize these preferences in yourself and your loved ones, you can learn to identify the root of your conflicts, connect more profoundly, and truly begin to grow closer. So that's the definition that they kind of give about what the 5 love languages are. And I love these. Me and Marissa talk about this quite a bit in our own relationships, like what our partners' love languages are, what we thought ours were, which I'm very interested to see what our results were. So today what we did is we took some quizzes. We took, what is your love language? What is your apology language? And how well do you handle anger? Which I'm very excited to talk about. But before we dive too far in, I really quickly also want to just give everyone a definition in case you've never ever heard of the 5 love languages. This is what they are. The first one is called acts of service. For these people, actions speak louder than words. The second is called receiving gifts. For some people, receiving a heartfelt gift is what makes them feel the most loved. The third is quality time. So this language is all about giving the other person your undivided attention. The fourth is words of affirmation. This language uses words to affirm other people. And the fifth is physical touch. To this person, nothing speaks more deeply than inappropriate physical touch. So, and appropriate, not inappropriate.
Inappropriate.
A-N appropriate.
I love that.
Really funny. But so what we did is Marissa and I took the quiz, and how these quizzes work is you're taking the quiz, you're answering questions. So it'll say, what's more meaningful to you, getting a hug or receiving a nice gift after your partner's been traveling or whatever. It gives you like a bunch of these scenarios and you pick one or the other. And what your results are the ways that you receive love. So these can go both ways, right? Like we can have a love language that we receive love in, which we're going to talk about, but we might give love in a different way depending on our partner's love language or other people in the world, which is why it's important to understand others, which actually I'm excited to know yours because it helps in the workplace. Like it will help us work together in the pod. It helps us at our real life workplaces, literally everything in life. The way you communicate with others can be improved with these love languages. So I feel like I just spewed so much information, but I feel like we can dive in. Like I said, the way that it works is we're taking the quiz on how we receive love, but it will give you all 5 languages and it will attach a percentage to each. So it's not like we just have one. It's not like we're just, oh, I'm only physical touch. I mean, some people might get 100%.
Yeah.
But it breaks it down into percentages and gives you a percentage of each so that you can better understand yourself and, you know, show it to your partner. I showed mine to Angelo last night. I was like, do you want to wait till the episode comes out or do you want to know? And he's like, I want to know. It's going to be like a couple weeks.
Yeah.
So let's just dive in. I know that you took your quiz. So would you like to start us off and tell us what your top love languages are?
I want you to guess.
Ooh, I love that. Okay. I think that your number one love language might be words of affirmation, acts of service.
Okay, that's what I always thought my top love language was acts of service. And I've taken this quiz. This is my 3rd time taking it.
Same.
The first time I did get acts of service is my highest one. And it's almost tied. So
quality
it's
time?
not. Yeah, it's quality time now. But I think that that's really I don't know. It's just like really apparent right now because like me and Kyle are farther apart. And I feel like the majority of like the way that I answer these questions is like reflecting on me and Kyle, not necessarily like in general. And so like, of course I'm going to like want to spend undivided attention with Kyle when I'm not with him 24/7.
Yeah.
So I got quality time as my top one and it's at 37%.
Okay. That's a fair amount. What is your second?
My second is acts of service at 30%.
Okay,
so it was really close.
Yes. Okay. I could kind of tell that those were your 2. And then how do the rest of yours fall? I'm really curious.
So third is words of affirmation at 20%. And then physical touch is 4th at 10%. And then receiving gifts is last at 3%.
Whoa. Okay. So that is like so irrelevant to you, apparently.
Yeah.
That's so wild.
But
I love this.
It's crazy because I love giving gifts. Like I love just like giving somebody little gifts. And like if you give me a gift, like I literally wouldn't care. I'd rather you like go and clean my dishes for me because I feel like I see that more as a gift rather than like actually like receiving like, I don't know, like something of monetary value. Like if you were to drive with me to go and like get groceries or whatever, like I would find that so much more helpful than you buying my groceries for me.
Yeah, that quality time aspect that really does prove. Yeah, that makes sense to me, and it also does speak to the fact of like the way you show love and the way you receive could be so different. Like you like to give gifts, and there's people out there that will really value that. So that's really cool. Yeah. Okay, so I wanted to read some definitions that are like more expanded. So do you want to guess mine? I'll say mine first.
I think yours is words of affirmation.
Okay, so I've taken this multiple times too, and words of affirmation has always been number 1. It's not anymore. And I have to say that this is probably the most annoying results I could have gotten for Angelo. I'm almost equally everything. Almost equal. So I'm going to go through. My number 1 is quality time, just like you, at 30%. My number 2 is a 3-way tie. 20% words of affirmation, 20% physical touch, 20% acts of service, and my last one is receiving gifts, but that's still 10%. So I feel like my circle is like, you can see my colors maybe on Zoom are almost all even, like they're the same size.
That's crazy.
I'm almost everything. So I showed it to Angelo and he's like, oh my God, that's annoying because now it's like, how does he speak my love language? You have to just pick one, speak all five.
You have to pick
that
one.
Makes it way harder. But I did pull some even deeper definitions that I want to dive into. So both of our number ones, like we said, are quality time. And the website kind of redefines this, and it says, in the vernacular of quality time, nothing says I love you like full, undivided attention. Being there for this type of person is critical, but really being there with the TV off, fork and knife down, and all chores and tasks on standby makes your significant other feel truly special and loved. Distractions, postponed dates, or the failure to listen can be especially hurtful. The love language of quality time also means sharing quality conversation and quality activities. Hence, quality is like really in there.
Yeah.
But
I feel like I only partially agree with that, which is crazy.
Oh, okay.
So in my life for quality time and whatever, I don't think that I necessarily agree with like having like phones away, TV off and everything. Like,
yeah.
I think like just being with the person is my definition of quality time, because I don't really care. Like, maybe don't have your phone out, but like I would picture quality time as like even just sitting and watching a movie with somebody and like talking with them, or like going on a walk. And I think that that's completely okay too. I don't think there has to be like zero distractions, because you're still spending that time with them.
Time together.
But I do really agree with like the failure to listen, or like plans falling through. Like those things are super hurtful to me.
Me too. And I totally agree. And I remember you telling me recently too, that this totally speaks to you, is that you said one of my pet peeves is if I texted you the answer to something and then you text me again asking for it. No, just scroll up and look. Like, I already told you, did you not listen? Yeah. And I hear you, because I feel the same way. Like, there's nothing worse than having to repeat yourself because someone's not listening to you. And so one of the things that Marissa and I did for this episode was like think about ways that people could speak our love languages. So actually I think I might want to just kind of go one by one. Yeah. Because since mine were all equal, I wrote a lot of examples, which no worries if you didn't, but I want to talk about quality time while we're on the topic. So for me, I mostly do agree with the full undivided attention thing. I mean, obviously I don't watch movies or anything, but I think phones is like the biggest proponent of this. Like, people cannot put their phones down these days, and I'm one of them. I work on my phone. I do Instagram. I do this podcast. I do my real job, which is social media. Like, I do so much on my phone, so I totally get it. But last night, for instance, we had our family dinner, and I said, everyone's putting their phone in this basket, and it's going to sit over there, and we're going to talk to each other, because when do we ever actually talk to each other? Yeah. And I think so I want to talk about some of the things I wrote down, and we can go into yours too. But for a partner, I wrote that quality time to me might look like just taking a drive in the car and like talking, especially when you're driving, you can't be on your phone. So like you have the opportunity to talk to each other. And I also wrote going on a walk and talking, or I wrote playing video games. So that's one, kind of like you said with watching a movie, that might be my version, is like, okay, sure, like we're on the video game, we're playing the video game, but we're doing it together. We're laughing at the same stuff. We're laughing when we crash into things on GTA. Like, it's just a fun quality time moment. But then I also wrote a couple more. So for coworkers, I wrote that quality time with a coworker might just mean having a meaningful conversation with no phones, hence no phones, no distraction. So like when you get, I mean, for me, it's all virtual, but when I talk to a coworker, like I'd love for us to talk and for them to not be like typing an email while they're talking to me, or like on Slack, or responding to a text message. Like that is definitely my pet peeve when I see someone on Zoom and they're just like looking down at their phone the whole time. It's one thing if it's like, okay, they're listening and they're like interacting with me, but they're just looking at their phone, you stop talking, they don't realize you stopped talking. It's like, okay.
Yeah, I hate that. And that's like something that I think that we do really well, because like we do like record and like we look at each other on Zoom, and like unless we're looking at our notes, we are locked eye contact the entire time.
Exactly. And that's what's really hard for, I think, a lot of people, is just being an active listener, because we're in a generation that is not always that. Like, we have so much going on at all times, and we're like looking here, looking there, we're listening to music, listening to podcasts on YouTube, and we both talk about how we're big consumers too, but it is so hard to sometimes put the phone down. But my last one is I wrote for friends. So aside from partners or coworkers, for friends, I wrote having the meaningful conversation with no phone. Same thing. Grabbing dinner together. I love to grab dinner and like not be on our phones and just like talk. Like, we're eating good food. What's been new in your life? That kind of thing. And just being fully present in the conversation, for me, is what's important. So that is how I like to spend quality time. What about you?
So I like the whole like talking point that you had wrote down, I kind of took it just a little bit differently. So I just wrote down like 5 ways that like you can show me love, or that I enjoy doing with anybody, really. Yes. So I put, go on an adventure with me. Yes. And I feel like that's like really big quality time. Like I love exploring. I love going outside. I love doing new things together. And I feel like if you're exploring somewhere new, you're going to be much less likely to get on your phone and like look up things, unless like you're looking up a thing to do while you're in the area.
Directions.
Of course. Yeah, but
literally,
like I love going on hikes with like anybody. I also just like love driving somewhere and like trying out something new, or like going to a museum or like anything like that. I love doing that, and I love doing it with friends too, because this is something me and Kyle have like really valued in our relationship. Like we really try and like explore things together first, because like it's so cool to see somebody's first initial reaction to something. And it's definitely looked different now that like we live farther apart, of course, but like I also just like I love exploring things for the first time with somebody. Like even if I've been there, like just taking them there and seeing their reaction, I think it's so cool.
Me too. I love that you said that, because I always say one of my favorite things in life is taking people to New York City for the first time.
Yeah.
Like, I just love taking them there and saying like, stand in Times Square and look around. Like what like isn't not the coolest thing you've ever seen. And then I just love showing people restaurants that I've been to. So I totally feel that. And I think the best way to put it was going on an adventure. I love that.
And like an adventure can be anything, whether it's like just going and seeing like a new like a new restaurant, driving down a new road, or like going to this like new park down the road. I just think it's so fun.
I'm obsessed. I think that's a great one.
Okay, and then my next one that I put down was help me run errands or go with me to run errands. Like, I feel like I could do either one. Like, I would be okay if somebody, like, went to go to, like, the post office for me. Like, I feel like that would be okay. Or, like, I would just much rather prefer doing it with somebody, because I don't know. I was talking about it, I think, in, like, an episode that we did last week or something, and I was talking about how, like, it was our habits episode, how I get really, like, stuck in a rut and I don't want to get up and like do the thing, and like that is really big with like running errands. I hate running errands. So if somebody goes with me and they're like, I'll just like go with you, if you keep me company, it's gonna make the experience 10 times
make
better.
It fun.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
Even if like you go and do it for me, that's fine too, but I think I'd much rather just do it with somebody, which is like that quality time over acts of service, I think.
Yeah, I hear that. One of the questions I remember asking us on the quiz was like, what shows you more love? Something like, I don't know, some random example, or when someone runs to do a chore for you, like to do an errand for you. And I'm like, I don't want Angela to like go to the store for me. I want to go together.
Yeah.
Like, I feel you on that.
Yeah. And I think like I would be okay if like Kyle ran to the store for me, or if like a friend ran to the store for me, but I also think it'd be just so fun to do it together. Like it just makes errands so much easier, I think.
Yeah, it makes them like enjoyable versus like a chore.
And then the next one I wrote down was, when I start to be introverted, invite me to do things. And I've been I've been really bad at this recently because I feel like, I don't even know if introverted is the right word, but I get stuck in ruts where I like don't want to leave my house. Like I haven't left my house since 3 p.m. on Friday, and it's now Sunday at 11 a.m. Like I haven't left my house since I got home from work on Friday, which is totally okay. It's okay to like need a reset, but I feel like I get stuck in these ruts, and when I get stuck in the ruts, I don't want to get out of it necessarily, and it's really hard for me to push myself out of it, but that's okay. And I think like if a friend were just to be like, hey, like I'm going to like Target, do you want to go with me? Like that would definitely help me get out of my ruts.
Yes, it's that accountability partner coming back into swing almost. It's like someone like kind of hold me accountable in a soft way of like, just ask me to hang out, like let's go do something, get me out of my head and get me out of my, my rut. Exactly. That's exactly what it is. I love that. Also, shopping with friends is so underestimated. It's so
I know. Fun. And like you don't even have to buy anything, just like go and hang out.
Look around. Yes, just like in high school when you just like walk around the store, and that's like something fun to do. I love doing that.
I still love doing it.
Heck yeah. And Marissa and I are going to the 2-story Target. We must.
Yes,
when I
we
visit,
have to.
We must.
It's almost time.
Yes. I love it.
Okay, my next one is send me a message just saying you miss me. And or not even just a message. You could even just call me on the phone, and like you could just be like, "Hey, I really like miss like last year this time we were doing this, and I really just miss that." And it like makes you feel a little reminiscent, maybe a little bit sad, but still at the same time like it just knows that you're like thinking of me.
I think that's huge for literally anyone with any love language. It's like so important to tell people that you love in your life that you are here. Like, hey, I'm still thinking about you. Like, don't think you've been forgotten. Because I think a lot of us can feel like we've been forgotten, but for so many reasons, by so many people, and for no reason other than you just need to be reminded a lot.
Yeah,
so I feel like that could be huge for anybody.
Yeah. And then my last one is help me with chores that I hate doing. And
same.
I feel like it changes. I don't have a specific chore that I'm like, I hate doing that. Yeah. Like, okay, I'm fine doing dishes and I'm fine doing laundry, but putting away the dishes and putting away the laundry is the worst thing ever.
That's so funny.
I hate finishing the task, which is terrible, but I just like, I could clean my entire apartment and be fine with it. Or I could like put all the dishes in the dishwasher and press start. Or I could put all the laundry in. But you ask me to fold it and put it away or put away the dishes and I'm on strike. I can't do it. I don't want to.
Laundry strike, that happens a lot in my house.
Yeah.
That's really funny. And that's the best thing about living with your partner, because I am the opposite of you and I will not clean a dish. Like, do not ask me to clean a dish. I'll put all the clean dishes away, but the dirty dishes gross me out.
Yeah.
So in our house, Angelo loads the dishwasher, I unload, and he does all hand wash. And then he hates laundry, so I just do all the laundry. So it's nice to find those balances of like, you know, what you can compromise on. But I hear you, because some tasks I'm like, just don't ask me to do that. I will never do it.
Yeah.
I'm
like
done.
One time Kyle was here and like I was stuck in one of my ruts where I felt like I couldn't do like any chores, and he knows that I love like him helping me do those things. Yeah. So he like helped me clean like the kitchen, and then I started sweeping, and then he literally followed me with the mop, and I was like, this is so nice. Like, this is so helpful. And I can't wait for him to move in, because it's going to be so much easier to like get everything done and feel like, I mean, I feel like when it's like only on me, because like I do live alone, I feel like it's so much harder for me to get it done, because I'm like, oh, like nobody's going to see it unless I like have friends coming over. And I'm also like, well, I'm the only one here. Like, it can't get that dirty.
Right. I think something in life that's so not talked about enough that we could do an entire episode on is keeping house. It is not easy. We have full-time jobs. We're adults out here. We have partners. Some people have kids. Some people have pets. And to keep your goddamn house clean is like the bane of my existence. Like,
no, literally.
Why is it so hard? And it's like, you get off of a full day at work. The last thing you want to do is pick up a toilet brush and go scrub your bathroom. Like, it sucks so bad.
Yes.
And I think more people should be talking about how hard it is to keep house. Like, that's a full-time job. Yeah, it really is. Like,
it really, really is.
It's crazy. I just don't understand it. So
me neither.
That's nuts. Well, I love your top 5 ways. I feel like they're so good. And there's so many things that we can go into next, because obviously we have apology languages. But I want to read really quickly a few more definitions for us of our next one. So we both had a second place of acts of service. So I'll go there. For acts of service, it says, can vacuuming the floors really be an expression of love?
Yes.
Absolutely. Anything you do to ease the burden of responsibility on your partner speaks volumes. The words he or she most want to hear is, let me do that for you. Laziness, broken commitments, and making more work for them tell speakers of this love language that their feelings don't matter. What? Oh, laziness will tell them their feelings don't matter. Got a little confused. I was like, what? Finding ways to serve speaks volumes to the recipients of these acts. So totally agree. Totally hear that. That is a good one. And then I want to talk about words of affirmation, because I know we both had that in our middle. Actions don't always speak louder than words. If this is your love language, unsolicited compliments mean the world to you. Hearing the words, I love you, are important. Hearing the reasons behind that love sends your spirits skyward. That's really funny. Insults can leave you shattered and are not easily forgotten. Kind, encouraging, and positive words are truly life-giving. I think that's huge to talk about the opposite of words of affirmation, which is like bad words. Like if someone says like, I'm so disappointed in you, that will shatter my soul. I'm done. Like, those are the things that really get me. So I think that it's also important sometimes to think about like the opposite of these love languages, because they can totally go both ways. They could be like anti-love, if you will.
Yeah.
I can't think of another word. Hate
like,
languages
for
almost.
Quality time. Like if you're just like never present in your like relationship, like that's going to suck for people with quality time. Is there a top love language? Or people that have like acts of service is their top love language. If you're never willing to help them out, like that's going to be so annoying. And then just like you said with like the bad words thing, that's going to be so like, if you're just like being like unnecessarily mean. Like that's not helpful. And I feel like that's the same for everybody. You don't even have to like have words of affirmation as a love language, because I'm very sarcastic. Like I'm willing to like be silly and whatever. And I know like sometimes words do hurt, but like at the end of the day, like we can still have a joke with each other.
100%. I feel that too. And I just think, I don't know, it's so weird how they all work together simultaneously, the languages. But yeah, they can totally just make you feel discouraged when they're not being met. So I want to talk about physical touch. This love language isn't all about the bedroom. A person whose primary love language is physical touch is not surprisingly very touchy. Hugs, pats on the head, holding hands, and thoughtful touches on the arm, shoulder, face, they can all be ways to show excitement, concern, care, and love. Physical presence and accessibility are crucial, while neglect or abuse can be unforgivable and destructive, exactly how we were saying. Physical touch fosters a sense of security and belonging in any relationship. Physical touch is Angela's number one love language. So that is definitely, I mean, as we heard, it's now tied for my second place, but it's like in the middle for me. So that one is hard for me to like get creative with. I'm like, okay, I could do a massage, in which I'm bad at massages, guys, and I don't like doing them, but I try. I'm like, okay, how can I get creative though? Because I know that's Angela's top love language and I'm not so good at speaking it. So that's something I'm always working on. Yeah.
I don't know. I have a lot of friends that their like top love language is physical touch. And I think mine was at 10%. So like obviously it doesn't really matter to me. So I don't know. I feel like I've never really been a touchy-feely person.
Same.
Like, I never really, like, I'm not going to run up to you and give you a hug. And, like, me and my friends have, like, this long-running joke. Like, if Marissa gives you a hug, like, somebody must be dying.
Something's wrong. Yeah.
Like, she doesn't, like, touch you. Like, me and my best friends, like, we've never touched. Like, literally. And I'm like, this is so weird. But, like, some of my friends that I have, like, since I've moved here, like, Owen and Mara, like, their top love languages are physical touch. And, like, they run up to me and give me a hug as soon as they see me. And, like, they like know that it's not like my top thing, but it's not like I'm like repulsed by it. So I'm not going to be like, ew, get off of me. But it's just like, oh, like I'll walk up to you and be like, hi, I miss you so much. Like, it's so nice to see you. Like
how are you?
Like I'm going to say things like that instead of like run up and give you a hug. But I feel like for me with physical touch, like since I know it's not one of my top ones, it's me like learning to be like compassionate to those that is their top love language.
I'm so glad you said that because I feel the same way. And personally, I don't come from like a hugger kind of family. And so I know Angela's family, like every time we leave or get there, everyone like wants to hug you. And I'm like, okay, like you, I'm not going to be like, oh, I don't want a hug. No, thank you. Like I'll give you a hug. But it's not my go-to. It's not my preferred. And sometimes it just feels a little bit awkward to be like the one person in the corner that sometimes I like don't give hugs, but everyone else is. And I'm like, I'm just going to stand back here and like hope
I'll be that awkward person with you. I've done it in the past. Like we're like at family functions and I'm like, all right. Just
kind of like off to the side. I'm like, see you later. So nice seeing you. Yeah. I also like, I have this thing where I have a hard time saying like love you to family members sometimes. Like people like love you and I'm like, yeah, see you next time. Like not in a mean way, but it's just so hard for me. But yeah, I don't come from a huggy family and I've never been a touchy-feely person either. Like I used to have friends, I don't know if you had this in like middle school and high school even, that are like, oh my gosh, like do you want to cuddle? And I'm like, no. And they're like, do you want me to like give you a massage, play with your hair? I'm like, no. A lot of girls like love to do that and a lot of my friends did too. And it was something that I just never prefer. Like I could not be me. I'm like, literally don't touch me. Also my mom is the same way, and so I think that's probably just where it comes from. We're just like not touchy-feely, not emotional in general.
Yeah. So well, my mom is super touchy-feely.
Really?
And like I feel like it's really weird because like in like scenarios like when I should be like super sad and stuff, like she wants to like console me by giving me a hug and I'm like, you can console me with your words. It's okay.
Yeah, literally me. It's like I don't need a hug. I'm good. Thank you.
Yeah. Like if you give me a hug and I'm sad, I'm either going to break down and like sob or I'm going to get so angry and like run away.
Yeah, like, oh my gosh, last night I felt really bad. Last night Angela was trying to give me a hug and I like literally pushed him away and he's like, that was so rude. And I was like, I'm sorry. Like it was so rude. And like I hear you. But I just sometimes even get so overwhelmed. Like last night I had a headache and I was like feeling migrainey and I was starting to feel like my stomach hurt and I knew I had like 10 things to do and it was 11 p.m. And so I was just like, it's too much. And the last thing I want is for you to touch me, which is probably so hard for Angela to understand because the first thing he would want is a hug and that would make him feel better.
Yeah.
So that's the balance that I have in my personal relationship that I'm like, oh my gosh, it's hard like to speak other people's love languages that don't come naturally to you.
Yeah.
That's so some weird of what I'm trying to say. Yeah. It is a lot. The last one I have something to read for is receiving gifts. So I want to read this one because I think it's a really nice description. It says, don't mistake this love language for materialism. The receiver of gifts thrives on the love, thoughtfulness, and effort behind the gift. If you speak this love language, the perfect gift or gesture shows that you are known, you are cared for, and you are prized above whatever was sacrificed to bring the gift to you. A missed birthday, anniversary, or a hasty, thoughtless gift would be disastrous. So would the absence of everyday gestures. Gifts are visual representations of love and are treasured greatly. I love reading that one because I know that most all of us think of materialism when we think of receiving gifts. We're like, okay, presents, Christmas, birthday. Like we think of all the holidays, that have gifts associated with them or whatever, but I want to read some of the things I wrote down because, like I said, I wrote down a few examples for each, and maybe you have some that you think of too. But for me, gifts looks like if someone were to give me a bouquet of flowers, like after a dance performance or something, like that is a really cool gift that really speaks to me. I also wrote a handwritten card or anything homemade. So maybe not like buying something per se, but if someone were to write me a card that was like really meaningful, that would like tear me apart. I'll be crying. Which is not easy, getting me to cry in front of you, but that would do it because I think that it's the thoughtfulness for me. Like the thoughtfulness behind whatever the gift or gesture was is really important. And that's why I want to read the description too, because I feel like that is a huge one. And in that way, I do like gifts.
Yeah. I think it's really weird to be like, oh, I love gifts. Like it makes you feel like so like conceited almost. But at the end of the day, like it's just so nice to know like, oh, they were thinking of me and they got me this. Like that's the way I think of it because like I do like getting gifts. I just don't think that I would think of that as like one of my love languages. Obviously, it was only 3% when I took the quiz. But like I do love holidays. Like I love my birthday. I love seeing what people are going to get me. I love like all of the holidays where you do get gifts. And it's just like a new surprise almost. And I love surprises. And I feel like I think of that more of like an act of service is like somebody's like throwing me a surprise. Like they're like doing this like to make me happy because they know like I love surprises and stuff like that. Yeah, but totally. I also think like you can kind of reframe that in like the giving gifts or receiving gifts kind of mindset. And like, I don't know. Like I said, I love giving gifts. And so like, if I'm just like scrolling through Amazon and I see something cute, like I'm going to be like, oh, I'll order that for like my friend or like I'll order it to their house or whatever. And I think it's so fun just to like see the reaction kind of like, I equate this with acts of service as well. So just like you would love to see somebody's reaction when you take care of some sort of household chore for them, you're going to love to see the reaction when they open a gift that you got them.
Exactly. Yeah, I love that. And I think, like I said, these are all percentages. So like maybe we all have a little bit of each. And that's what I like to talk about it for, because just like you said, some things could be a gift, but they're also an act of service and they're also quality time all at the same freaking time with words of affirmation and physical touch wrapped in. Like
exactly.
You can hit a 5 for, I always say a 2 for 1, a 5 for, a 5 for 1. It's possible. So really quickly, I want to run through the rest of my examples and then we'll move on. Yeah. But for words of affirmation, I don't know if you have any of these that are like key for you, but for me, it's hearing I'm proud of you for XYZ. I'm excited about what you're doing. Just like how I talked about at the beginning, we spent a lot of time talking about people listening to our podcast. That means a lot to me. Just people saying that. And I'm here for you. Yeah. Like, I'm here for you, or let me know what you need. For me, those are like the key phrases that are like, okay, that person like actually really cares about me when I hear them say XYZ.
Yeah, I think that all of those like are the same for me. Like I love all of those. I can't really think of any other examples, but like you said,
I'm proud of you is huge.
Yeah, I love I really like having people say like, "Oh, I'm excited for you." Like I'm so excited to see like what you're going to do with that, or like my parents always say they're proud of me, and like that's so helpful. But I also love that they're like, "Oh, I'm so excited to see what you're going to do with that." Yeah,
it's almost like all those phrases kind of speak to I believe in you as a human, as a person, and I feel like that might be the root of it all. Is like when someone believes in you, it feels so amazing. Yeah. I love it. Okay, so for physical touch, I wrote just a few. For me, physical touch, the way I receive, the best ways are massage, hands down. I want you to massage my back and shoulders because personally, I carry stress in my shoulders and neck, and they are always in pain because I'm always stressed. I also clench my jaw, so I have a lot going on there. Yeah. So like a shoulder neck massage, yes. Cuddling, and then I wrote just holding hands at the store or on a walk. Just like a simple thing. Yeah. Those are my biggest like ways I receive physical touch. Do you have any?
I feel like mine are a little bit different. So okay, cool. I think the only reason I only really think of this love language in like the terms of Kyle because, like I said, I've never really been touchy-feely with like friends and stuff. Yeah. So I feel like when Kyle, like when I see him after a long time, the first thing that I want to do is like run up and give him a huge hug because like I haven't seen him in forever, and of course I'm gonna want to like touch him and like make sure he's real. That's what I always say. Yeah. I'm like, are you real?
Pinch me, I'm dreaming. Yeah.
I know. Kind of so I'll like run up to him and I'll like grab his face or like give him a hug, and I really enjoy that, and I know that he does too because he's like, "Hi, she's right here." And then I also love like cuddling. Like whenever Kyle and I like the first time we like ever spent the night together, like we had to cuddle because it was in a dorm room bed, and like of course,
and Kyle's so tall.
I know, of course we didn't fit, but like whenever I got like my like queen size bed and like we would have like sleepovers or whatever, like we would never touch. Like we would just look at each other and like stare across the bed. But I don't know what it's been like in the past like year or so. Like I can't fall asleep unless we're cuddling, and it's wild because like we never used to do that. And we literally like looked at each other and like we noticed at the same time kind of that it was happening. Like we didn't notice for like the first couple of months, but then we looked at each other and we were like, why are we like touching so much when we fall asleep? Like we hate touching each other. Like we get so hot when we're falling asleep. He's like, I don't know. I kind of like it. And I'm like, me too.
That's
and it just,
really
like,
funny.
It just like completely changed over like the past year. And I was like, I used to literally be like, all right, I'm falling asleep. Get off of me. And like we would both do that. And it was like a mutual agreement. Like we're falling asleep. Do not touch me.
Yes.
But now like we literally fall asleep. Like he'll be like behind me watching like a YouTube video. And he'll just like give me a hug. And I'm like, all right, good night.
Literally. That's so cute. And that's so funny. And I don't remember if you said, but do you feel like your physical touch has moved up on your love languages at all since the past 2 times you've taken it?
I don't think so.
No?
I think
I was just wondering
about the same.
Because as we, like, sometimes we, like, just grow as people with no reason, you know, because we just grow every year. And so I feel like those things can change. Like, for me, physical touch has definitely moved up. Also, we are the fall asleep and don't touch each other people because hot. But no, I hear you.
I still agree with that, but I don't know why. It's fine now.
I mean, and I don't know. Maybe it's you being so far away. Like, you guys weren't so far away before. Now you see them even less. So I don't know.
Maybe that's
really cool though. I love that.
But there was one more thing that I was thinking of, and I know that you said that you love like going on walks and holding hands. I hate that because I feel like, I mean, maybe it's because Kyle is so much taller than me and like his steps are longer, but I feel like
you're running.
It just doesn't work. I feel like
he's dragging you down the sidewalk.
Like sometimes it's nice, like we'll like walk around the store and like we'll hold hands, or like more often than not, like I'm like wrapping my arm around his arm, and that's easier because I feel like our hands get like sweaty. His is so much bigger than mine. I feel like I'm not holding his hand right, and I just become so hyper aware that like our steps aren't together, and I feel so flustered. And I think that he can sometimes notice that too, because I think he really enjoys like holding hands on walks. But I think he can notice that I'm getting like flustered, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with my body. And then we're just never mind. We're gonna walk on like opposite sides of the sidewalk. It's fine.
Just overthinks it.
Yeah.
I hear that too. Also, it feels like a big part of both of our physical touches is getting too hot. It's like, okay, get off me. Like, I'm too hot. And when you get too hot, everything bothers you. It's like, okay, now I'm too hot, and I'm annoyed, and I have a headache, and I'm hungry, and then it starts building up, I feel like.
For sure.
The worst.
I completely agree.
Oh my God. Okay, so the last one I have is acts of service. Yes. And I know that you'll relate to some of these too. Acts of service for me is just offering help. So like if I'm doing something and I don't ask for it, but you come up and you're like, do you need help doing the dishes? A lot of times we'll say no, but like sometimes it's really, really nice just for someone to even say that.
Yes.
Helping with chores or things I might be too busy to do. And then this is my biggest one, filling my water bottle. Huge.
That's so funny.
Huge for the program. If I have to fill my own water bottle, it's going to be about a day. I just always ask Angelo, and he's so sweet. Like, he knows that that's just one of the biggest ways, and he'll always do it. We'll be in bed. Yeah. Like, babe, could you fill my water? And I'm like, you can say no. I'll get up and do it. And he's like, no, I'll do it. Like, I know it means a lot to you, so like, I'll go fill it up. That's my biggest one. I don't know why, but it's the most, and I love it.
That's so funny. I think that my biggest one is just like helping me whenever like I need help. Like if I'm like, oh, I can't do this right now. Like, I don't know. There's been many times. Like also, something else that I think that is like kind of overlooked is like helping somebody break down tasks with you. Like this is something that Kyle and I do often now because like we are far away, And he can't always help me with my to-do list because he's far away, but he'll kind of help me like break down like what I need to do and how we can get it done, like how we can get it done, how I can get it done with his help. But like yesterday I was like, oh, Kyle, I have so much to do. Like I can't get off of the couch. Like I felt like I was like stuck on the couch and I couldn't get up and I couldn't decide what to start with.
Yeah.
And he was like, okay, you're going to get up. It's only going to take you 30 minutes to like take out all the trash, clean your car, and then it's fine. You can do whatever else you need to. And I was like, you're right. And him breaking that down really helped me figure out what I needed to do. Yeah,
exactly. I love that. And also, like, when you have help, it makes things go faster, and then you have more time to do the stuff you actually want to do. So it's like a win-win. For me, when someone asks, like, do you need help with that? Especially Angelo, I'll be like, yeah, if you help me do this, we can get done faster, and then we can go play a video game or do quality time or whatever. So that's huge.
Absolutely.
Wow. Okay. Well, I think that kind of wraps up the 5 love languages, and we are already at 50 minutes of talking about this. So I think for the next 2 we can just talk about our top results and not go too crazy. We could literally do a billion episodes on this, apparently.
I know.
But something that I found as I was doing research for this episode is the apology language. How will you handle anger? And do you feel appreciated at work? Which I've never heard of any of these. No. I've only done the 5 love languages. I think they must be very new. And so Marissa and I both took the apology language quiz and the anger quiz. The appreciation at work quiz is not free, so we didn't take that one. But I'm curious about what it is. I would like to take it someday maybe. But I want to talk about our results for how do you handle anger. This one was very similar to the love languages quiz where it said it's more meaningful to me when someone says this or this basically after an argument or for apologizing, that kind of thing. And there are 5 love languages here. Not love languages, sorry. 5 apology languages. So I'll just do them briefly. So the 5 apology languages include make restitution, planned change, expressing regret, accept responsibility, request forgiveness. I hope I didn't repeat anyone. I just said those. But
no, you didn't.
We'll go through and say our top ones and then we can describe them. But what is your top apology language?
Mine was make restitution at 35%.
Okay. Oh, wow. Okay, that's a pretty good percentage you have there. Okay, mine was planned change at 32%. But my second was make restitution as well. And it came up really high. So I want to talk about, just like I said, really briefly what these are. So planned change, which is my top one, is basically someone planning that they're going to change. So if someone apologizes to you after an argument and says, I'm really sorry that happened, for next time, what would you like me to do? Or for next time, this is what I'm going to do to make sure that doesn't happen again. I think that's what it is. These are a little bit more like, what's the word? They're like not as clear as the 5 love languages, I would say, but that's how I interpreted plan change. And for me, I find that really important because I don't know. I like to know, like, how are we going to avoid this again so we don't just keep running into the same problem over and over and over. So for Angela and I, that's a nice one. So yes, make restitution. So this is Marissa's number 1, my number 2. And this one is about like kind of justice, which made sense to me because personally, which I'd love to do an Enneagram episode, but I've taken the Enneagram and me and Angelo are big people about justice. Like we just see like almost like a right and wrong, and we want people to be held accountable in a way, which sounds really, really harsh. But make restitution says in our society, many people believe that wrong acts demand justice. The one who commits the wrong crime should pay for their wrongdoing. It sounds so harsh. Someone who speaks this love language feels the same way towards apologies. They believe that in order to be sincere, the person who is apologizing should justify their actions. The mate, it says mate. The friend who's been hurt, I'm trying to like Americanize it for us, but the mate who's been hurt simply wants to hear that their mate still loves them. So would you like to speak to making restitution at all, or like what it means to you?
I think that it's just like, I don't want to have people beat around the bush. Like I want them to like own up to their mistakes and just be like, okay, well, I made this mistake. This is how I'm going to fix it. And plan change was my second one at 31%. So I think that these two go hand in hand, like really well. So it's like, I know that I messed up. How can I fix it? Or I know I messed up. This is how I'm going to fix it.
Yes. Oh my gosh. Preach, girl, because those are also my top 2. So apparently we're thinking the same way about this. And the way they work together and the way you just said that, yes. Like that is what I need. I know I basically, in blunt terms, I fucked up. I'm going to fix it. And this is how.
Exactly.
Yes. Oh my gosh, preach, girl. I'm like, amen to that. That is exactly right. What was your number 3?
Mine was accept responsibility at 23%.
And what were your next ones?
And then expressing regret at 8%. And then request forgiveness at 4%.
Whoa, your percentages are very different than mine. So my number 1, plan change, 32%. My number 2, make restitution or justice, 24%. My number 3 is expressing regret at 20%. So those 3 were pretty close. And then at 12% each, my last 2 were requesting forgiveness and accepting responsibility. So really, really quickly, I will give everyone listening a couple more definitions really fast. So we talked about make restitution and plan change. Those are obviously really important to Marissa and I. So that's good to know for each other. We're going to be able to communicate so well after this.
I know.
It's going to be great. Requesting forgiveness says in some relationships, a mate wants to hear their partner physically ask for forgiveness. They want assurance that their mate recognizes the need for forgiveness. Asking for forgiveness shows that you realize you've done something wrong and that you're willing to put the future of the relationship in the hands of the offended person. So that would just be like saying, will you forgive me? I think is what that means.
I don't know why, but when I was taking this quiz, it gave me the ick. Like, I hate that.
Same.
Do not ask me.
That is so funny.
Like, I hate that. Like, if somebody comes up to me and they're like,
will you forgive me?
Will you forgive me? Like, it feels like they're, like, being insincere, and it literally makes me want to punch them in the face. Like, please do not ever do that to me. That's why it's really 4%. Like,
I don't know why I got 20%, but I agree with you.
It's so gross.
Why is there nothing to go with it? It's one thing to be like, oh, I really hope you forgive me for this. This is why this happened, and this is how I'm going to change it.
Like it feels
being just and making a plan.
I know that we've said this in the past. Like, it feels like gaslighting is like a big word, but it feels so gaslighty. It's like, just please forgive me. And I'm like, shut up. I hate that. I don't know why.
It gives no promise to the future.
It makes me so like unnecessarily angry. Like, I literally I was like cringing reading those questions. I was like, who wants that?
Literally.
Like,
please forgive me. Yeah, I understand that. I don't know why mine's so high, but maybe that gave me the ick less than some other ones. But
I guess.
Oh no, sorry, that was one of my bottom ones. That makes sense.
That's okay.
Yeah. Request forgiveness. So don't request us for forgiveness. We'll say no. Just kidding. Yeah. Probably though. And then the last one is accept responsibility. So it's very difficult for some people to admit that they're wrong. This kind of goes with our top 2. So I don't know why it was so low for me, but it makes them doubt their self-worth, and no one likes to be portrayed as a failure. However, as adults, we must admit that we all make mistakes. I'll stop there because these definitions are super long, but I don't know why that's so low for me. It feels like it goes with the first 2, and maybe it's just the fact of like not providing a solution. I think that's important to us. Provide a solution.
Yeah, I got that number 3, but I think like I said, I think that the first 3 really like go well together, like the make restitution, plan change, and accepting responsibility, because I think if you can't be responsible for your own actions, you're never going to be able to grow from it. And I feel like that's been like a repeating topic that we've talked about over the past couple of episodes.
That's true.
But I think that those 3 go well together, like very well together. And then expressing regret and like requesting forgiveness, I feel like it's a little bit different. And like expressing regret, I also kind of feel like that gave me the ick, as well as like requesting forgiveness, because if you're just like, oh, I'm sorry that happened, like, I don't care.
It actually kind of speaks to our love languages in the way that we said that we're almost not super emotional or super touchy. It's like, we don't really care about feelings as much as like, just fix it.
Yeah.
And I know this sounds so harsh because these are some people's primary apology languages, and that's fine. Like, if that's what you need, totally cool. I'm
willing to do that for you. Just don't do it for me.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like, it's just like one of those compromises. But I also feel like those 2 that you were just describing, like our bottom 2, is almost like too little too late. It's like, we want to hear you make the change.
Like, I don't want to just hear that you're sorry, and I don't want to hear that you like want to change. I want to see it.
Yeah, actions speak louder than words, apparently, for us.
Yeah, it's just so weird to me.
Yeah. Well, I was actually really glad to take that quiz, though, because I did not know there were 5 apology languages, and I do feel like it was helpful information to have. Yeah. Like, now we know, and I'm definitely going to make Angelo take it and see what he gets, because I want to know. I want to be able to, like, be better in an argument or whatever. Yeah. And the last thing we have, which we'll say literally so fast, because we've talked a lot. But
there's also way less information on this one.
Yes, this one's super simple. We have the anger quiz, which Angelo said I was going to fail because I do get pretty angry. I have anger problems a little bit, yeah. I just get, like, so flustered and like mad, and I'm like, just be better like humans. Like, I just get so angry. So yeah, let's talk about our results. Would you like to guess where I am? So there's like a green, a yellow, and a red meter, and it's a gradient going across from left to right. Would you like to guess what section I'm in?
Well, I would have guessed that you were in green, but based off of your last statement, I'm gonna guess that you're at like the top of the yellow, like the light yellow.
Ooh, okay, no. You would have had a good guess with the green. I am like on the green and yellow cusp. Okay. Like, I'm moving right across. Where do you land? I'm curious.
Where do I land?
Yes.
There's like this much green showing. Like I'm all the way at the top.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. There's like barely. So like, I know you guys can't see it, but like Erica's looking at hers. So like there's a meter and like the green, like you can barely see what's in front of it. I'm almost at the top.
Wow. Okay. So if you would like to read your results, I'll read mine first. But my results, high summary sentence says, you are handling your anger well, but you can improve. Is what mine says. It says your results are indicative of someone who likely handles your anger well in many situations, but there's still times when your anger is handling you. Recognize the areas where you are doing well in handling your anger, but also be cautious that your anger is not getting out of hands in other ways. So, action steps. It says you would benefit from better understanding the distinction between good anger and bad anger. Good anger, as Dr. Chapman describes it, is a normal response or genuine wrongdoing, injustice, or mistreatment. Distorted or bad anger, on the other hand, is our response to others when we have incorrectly perceived a constructed wrongdoing, injustice, or mistreatment. We don't have all the facts correct in distorted anger. Learn some other key differences in chapter 4 of this book. They're like, please buy the book. But I like this. I feel like it makes sense for me. I don't want to get too deep into it because we've just talked for so long, but I think just take a lot of things in life personally that sometimes I don't need to. And I think some people do that. Like constructive criticism, I'm like, sometimes Angela will listen to the podcast and be like, at minute 4, you were like a little quieter. And I'm like, I love you. Just listen to the podcast. Tell me if you like it. It's already put out on Spotify. It's too late.
Like, what do you want me to do about it now?
If I need it. Yes. So sometimes I just take things a little personally and then it turns into anger. But I'm working on it. And yeah, that's my results. I'm handling well, but I could improve. What about you?
Mine says, my responses indicate that you generally have a good handle on your anger. You are likely aware of what makes you angry and tend to be intentional in processing your feelings of anger. You likely don't experience too many difficulties from anger-related issues in your personal or professional life. There's always a room for improvement, however. Consider the following possibilities for future action. And it says, is there somebody you need to reconcile with? Perhaps you have an issue or conflict some time ago and you haven't taken initiative or effort to repair your relationship. Assuming it's within your power that you can foresee any significant and or intended negative consequences, powerfully consider reconciling and building a relationship with this person, which I don't think I agree with. If I was mad enough at somebody to end a relationship, I'm not going back to it. And I feel like that also shows that I have a good handle on my anger because I'm not willing to be open to the possibility of getting hurt again. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, I hear that one. I'm kind of the same way in that sense of like, for me, it's like, I feel like I'm pretty loyal, so it takes a lot to get to the point of ending a relationship or friendship. But once it's done, it's done.
Yeah,
like,
for
we're
sure.
done. Moving along.
Yeah.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Well, I'm so excited that we did this. That was so much information, but I feel like it was super helpful. And I hope anyone listening will go take the quizzes. I should have said at the beginning that these are free. Yes. 3 of them. Not the work one. So we didn't take the work one.
That's okay.
Yeah. But if you all want to take the love languages quiz and see what you get, it's helpful too, which this is a whole other topic that we could spiral into, but it's helpful too for loving yourself. If your top one is words of affirmation and you're not speaking well to yourself and you're speaking poorly to yourself, that's going to hurt so much if that is your love language. So
yeah, definitely,
it's so applicable in so many facets of life. I can't even get into it because we'd talk for another hour.
Yes.
It's so good though. So I hope y'all enjoyed listening to this. And yeah, any final words, Marissa?
I don't think so. Just learn how you love yourself, learn how you love everybody else around you.
And love more. Spread love and spread peace. I love it. Oh my gosh. Well, thank you guys for listening. You know the drill. Rate us, give us 5 stars, follow us on Instagram, find us wherever you find your podcasts. You guys know how to do it. And with that, I'm Arika.
And I'm Marissa.
And we run on coffee. Bye.